The Victoria's Secret show is coming back this October, and you know, me being the fangirl that I am, I have to throw it back and do a nostalgic makeup look. Today, I'm going to be recreating Romee Strijd's first ever debut runway glam. This is episode 2 of my Victoria's Secret series. Let's get into it. Today I'm going to be starting off with the Bobbi Brown primer and moisturizer. This is my favorite moisturizer and I haven't used it in quite a bit, so I decided to re-up because my skin has been rather dry lately. I recently got bangs again, and that's not very Victoria's Secret runway of me, and originally I was going to do a makeup look with a model that was sporting bangs on the runway, but I decided against it because I really wanted to do the classic highlight glowy Victoria's Secret look that most people think of whenever they think of Victoria's Secret angels. This look is extremely special because one of my favorite Victoria's Secret angels is Romee Strijd, and it's iconic because this was the time that she really wasn't comfortable on the runway yet. You can see that she's overly tan, her hair is almost brown, and she hasn't really come into her confidence yet when it comes to her walk. So I really liked this look and was like, this is perfect. I'm also using the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk foundation today. After her debut in 2014 when she first walked, she then later became an angel in 2015. I think why I liked Romee Strijd so much is because during the era she was coming up as a Victoria's Secret angel, she was vlogging her experience on YouTube. So 2014, 2015, that whole era of YouTube was peak in terms of beauty gurus and stuff. I was watching Romee's vlogs because it was just interesting to see the life or the behind the scenes of what a Victoria's Secret model does. I feel like she was one of the first people to really do that and put her experience out there. So of course I was tuned in and locked in. I've been a Victoria's Secret fan for a really long time and was like, this is so cool, like no one's ever done this before. She was putting her diets up there, she was putting her personal life up there, she was putting her workouts up there. I was like, oh my god, we're getting the inside scoop. So I absolutely loved watching her vlogs because it also made her seem relatable, down to earth, and she just seems like genuinely a really sweet person, and we don't really get to see that side of Victoria's Secret models, or the OG ones at least. I think the look that I'm recreating today is super simple and easy to recreate. I love doing like a simple yet elevated makeup look. It honestly is all about the highlighter, which during 2014, 2015, that is what the vibe was. Everybody wanted that Becca Cosmetics highlighter. Going in with my Refi brow sculpt before I do my eyebrows. I heard that Anastasia Beverly Hills filed for bankruptcy. I could be wrong on that. I'm kind of sad because she was like the brow queen. I don't know if they're going out of business, but they did file for bankruptcy, so it's not looking good for their business. I ended up buying a Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pencil recently because I like to experiment with my brows. Remember, if we're recreating a makeup look, it's not always going to look the same because everybody's facial features are different, and clearly my eyebrows are dark, so we're just gonna try our best. So in other news, the Victoria's Secret show is about a month away and they've confirmed a total of 6 models. They've confirmed Adriana Lima, of course, Anak Yai, Joan Smalls, Lily Aldridge, and Yumi Nu, and Alex Kosani. Before I go into what I'm about to say, I just want to say, like, every video I make for my channel requires some sort of research. If you look through all my videos, I like to cross my T's and dot my I's and make sure I really know what I'm talking about before I sit down and make a video. I want to make sure that I'm always giving you the best information and experience that I can. While we all know that Victoria's Secret was canceled in 2019, mainly due to like lack of inclusivity and outdated beauty standards and whatnot, we've got to think about where society was when they were canceled. It was around the year of 2019 when Victoria's Secret was quote unquote canceled. During that time on the internet, it was super popular to be a social justice warrior. I was one at some point. I have since then deleted a lot of my videos because one, I'm not a politics content creator, and on top of that, I just feel like it's not my place to speak out on certain topics sometimes, and if you want to fight with me in the comments about that, we can tussle. We definitely can. During that time on the internet, everybody and their mom was was trying to make it seem like they were woke or they understood certain ideologies or that they were a part of those certain ideologies and etc. And Victoria's Secret was kind of being taken down by those ideologies. Not saying that they're wrong, not saying that they're right, but what I am saying is it's actually wild to think about how internet culture shapes our current reality now versus the other way around. Now the internet affects how we interact with each other in person. And it's like, whoa, when did that happen? But anyway, the show has come back 5 years later and Victoria's Secret has branded differently to appease cancel culture. What I'm gonna be using on the eyes is the Dior Backstage Glow palette, and I'm also gonna be using a really old palette. It's the Venus Immortalis palette. This is the only palette that I have that has like a really nice white base. In the photo where she's kind of like looking into the camera, she only has like bits of glowy pieces on the inner corners of her eye, and then it looks like she's wearing a very small lash. So this is going to be super easy. What I'm first going to do is obviously go into my Venus Immortalis palette, and I'm going to just dip my brush in the white, and I'm just going to kind of apply it close to my lash line. Just go gentle with it. White can be kind of like finicky, and this palette is so old, there's obviously a lot of fallout. I like to just kind of map it out and then I'll clean up everything later. The thing about adding white to your eyes is it makes them bigger, and I already have large eyes as it is, so this makeup look may not be the prettiest on me like it is on Romee. Let me look at her eyes one more time. She's got very almond eyes. I don't know if I have almond eyes, but I've got some pretty big eyes. I'm going to add all of the highlighting elements at the end. The concealer I'm using is the Hourglass Vanish one. But anyway, back to what I was saying is that while I understand the need for change of Victoria's Secret to obviously include diversity and plus size models, it's important to represent, you know, who the consumer is, etc. I don't think they went about making that change in the best way possible to uphold their brand identity. Now let me get into why I think that. Okay, so boom. Victoria's Secret has always been like an aspirational brand, right? Like you want to be a part of what they're selling. You want to look like a Victoria's Secret angel. You want to smell like a Victoria's Secret angel. You want to wear the same makeup as a Victoria's Secret angel. You want the lifestyle of an angel. That's how they've always sold it. That's how it's always been. But what I think is you can have a plus size model who is Asian, black, or whatever, but they have to uphold those same standards as what they used to in the past in order for the company to still have this aspirational aspect to it. I'm not talking about being extremely thin, those types of beauty standards. What I'm talking about is the ability to actually model. Can you walk down the runway like Adriana Lima or Candice Swanepoel or even Romee Strijd and blend in with those girls? Can you do an editorial campaign and blend in with the rest of the crew? Do you have the skill or the talent to do that? Literally on the notes I took for the 2024 fashion show, I said the runway shows a major difference between supermodel and regular model, and I think that this is a huge red flag in terms of model selection, because as a viewer I shouldn't be able to tell who is new and who's been doing this for years on the runway. It should look cohesive in terms of brand identity, but in last year's show we didn't see that. We could tell who was like a deer in headlights and who was new on the runway. Mind you, I am recreating Romee Strijd's look today, and this runway debut, she did look a little nervous, but it didn't look like she didn't belong there. It looked like she belonged there, but you could tell like, okay, this was her first rodeo, and that's okay if it is your first rodeo. But with all of that being said, if we think about runway shows just in general, like Versace, Gucci, Tom Ford, or any designer, whenever they have casting for those runway shows, they typically will watch how the model walks and then critique them and tell them how they need to walk in the show. Now, of course, there are some models that have their own personal flair, and it elevates the brand and makes the brand look even better because that model just has that je ne sais quoi, if you get what I'm saying, and they don't necessarily have to blend in, but they are blending in at the same time. I hope you get what I'm saying by this. If there is a model that has that je ne sais quoi, similar to Cara Delevingne, how she was with Karl Lagerfeld, they're going to be recasted in that show for whatever it is. And Cara Delevingne also had her moment with Victoria's Secret as well, whenever she was the it model at the time. And that, I think, was based on her looks, not necessarily her runway walk, but that's besides the point. She still had that je ne sais quoi to where she could perform well on a runway. She could walk for any designer and still do well. And some of you may be thinking, like, Raven, is it that deep?
Is there something you have learned about your dad in the course of this campaign that you didn't?
Hello?
Hello? Victoria's Secret was my life as a little girl. My interest in fashion and runway shows will never go away regardless of how old I get, because this is truly an art form to me. It is that deep. Next up is blush. I'm gonna be using the Patrick Ta cream and powder blush in She's a Doll. But anyway, back to what I was saying, to the point of the 6 models that debuted for Victoria's Secret already, is that some of them are brilliant and extremely talented, and I think that they deserve to be there, but others I feel like were just casted because they fit the new narrative that Victoria's Secret is. Oh, that's a little too low. My fake piece is making me not think straight. That's okay, we'll fix it. Anyway, I feel like if you're being casted because you just fit the narrative versus like being cast on your talent and skill, it feels strange. I get a job is a job in the modeling world and you should be grateful that Victoria's Secret selected you, but I don't know, I feel like it would feel icky to just know like, oh, I got casted because I have this skin tone, or oh, I got casted because I'm in this weight class. I feel like you should be casted for modeling regardless of your race, regardless of your size, based off of your ability to actually model the clothing. Next up, I'm gonna go in with my Huda Beauty setting powder. I also think Victoria's Secret needs to hire someone better for their e-commerce team or photographer for, one, allowing this photo to be on their website, because why did they do Lily like that? There wasn't a better photo than this? I'm confused. We're all confused. Why would they do her like that? I think there needs to be some sort of quality control for the brand so that they can maintain that aspirational energy that they've always had. I think Victoria's Secret is in an amazing position in terms of marketing because they have the ability to market to women of all ages and girls as well. They have Pink, which is marketed towards younger girls, which is amazing. There is not a lot of brands that market towards the in-between ages anymore, like the tween ages. You guys remember Limited 2, Justice, Claire's. You guys remember all those stores. Now the little 9, 10, 11-year-old girls are in Sephora looking at skincare instead of looking at hair gyms or, you know, fake nail art or something. The little kids are kind of being forced into these adult spaces, and I think Victoria's Secret has this ability to market to those teens. They're in a unique position, I guess you could say. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the Dior highlighting palette and just go over this part of my eye because I'm about to do my mascara. Now, we are seeing a resurgence of Hollister and especially Abercrombie being prominent in clothing, or at least fast fashion right now. And I feel like Victoria's Secret should be in that same wheelhouse. So here is my idea, okay? Here's my idea. In order for Victoria's Secret to maintain or regain, whatever you want to say, relevancy in terms of their popularity and reaching new customers who probably are young and don't really know the importance of Victoria's Secret, I think that they should create a show that's similar to how America's Next Top Model was, but recreate it for angels. So go on an American hunt, open casting call for Victoria's Secret angels, or it can, you know, be international, like people can fly in, do whatever. But the TV show could be centered around finding a new core group of angels and not just relying on like OGs like Adriana Lima and Candace Swanepoel. And if they do that, obviously it's going to be politically correct and it's not going to be like Tyra Banks in terms of, you know, she did have some crash outs on her show. It could get people excited again to model. And this time around, it could follow the models and how they're being trained for the runway and how their lifestyle is, like including their diets. It could also feature like OG models kind of instilling these values and standards in the new core models. And once they have that set of the new faces of Victoria's Secret angels, I feel like that will set the tone for the rest of the fashion industry, because supermodels were a thing back in the day and they're not so much anymore, but there is beauty out there. There is still that like, oh my God, I cannot believe you even exist type of beauty, but we just don't see it as often. And also I feel like if Victoria's Secret committed to the bit of doing this like reality TV show that follows the lives of their core models, I do think that the rise of the supermodel would come back in a new, completely different light, because now we could see these models as like plus size or whatever the case may be. This could just reinvent the way that supermodels are looked at, but they have to be casted based on talent and skill. Can they take a good photo? Can they actually sell the clothing or whatever it is, the merchandise that they are putting on their bodies? That is what thing is. Like, can you bring the Victoria's Secret angel heat? I feel like that would be a really cool show for them to come up with in terms of like maintaining relevancy. And it doesn't even have to be on like a TV network or something, because the internet is live and real. I almost feel like the internet is more powerful than TV these days because people probably get most of their news from internet sources. So if they don't have it in their budget to like create this, you know, big TV show or whatever, I feel like they could do it as an internet web series and everybody would be tuned in, at least on YouTube. Also, another observation that I've had with Victoria's Secret, pink is becoming more of casual everyday clothing. So I think pink is trying to break out into the younger Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and trying to reach them with clothing, which I think is great. But I also think that it would be good for Victoria's Secret pink to kind of represent the angels, but as young girls, and not necessarily have a core group similar to the angels, but I think their brand identity should represent who were the angels before they came into these confident women. Were they tomboyish? Were they into math? Were they into science? Or like, what did these girls do before they decided to be angels? And I feel like that can showcase how to become more confident in your femininity and in, I don't know, I just love the fact that they're going in the direction of doing clothing as well as intimates. But I do think that I can see the pink brand growing, just as long as they're not always putting pink on every piece of clothing, then I think we're good in terms of that. But I'm excited to see how pink changes and grows over the course of time. Now going in with my NARS Laguna bronzing powder. In the photo that she's showing the makeup that I look the most, it doesn't show that she's wearing any bronzer, but on the runway she just looks so tan. The look is so simple that we need to add a little bit of something. Going in with my Charlotte Tilbury setting powder in tan, also losing sunlight, so you know me, we gotta hurry. Okay, I'm gonna go back into this Dior palette and make sure that it looks super glowy in this inner corner here. You want this to be seen from the crowd of the runway. She's got a very thin line of highlighter on her nose, so I'm just gonna try to follow that as best as possible without messing it up. It's such a distinct line, like it's not blended. And there's a little dab on the end of her nose, like a dot. I'm gonna add a little bit of the glow to my eyebrows as well, even though that's not a part of the look. I'm gonna be using this NYX lip pencil in the color Rose. Also looks like she's using a matte pink, and I don't think I have any matte pink, so we're just gonna have to do with the best that I got.
I'll do the best I can with what I got. Oh!
This is one of my favorite drugstore lipsticks. It is the L'Oreal color Riche. I thought a frosted look would be kind of cool with it. It looks like this. I've featured this in one of my videos before, but we love her. Okay, eyelashes are on. We're gonna follow up with the bottom mascara from Merit. She has a little bit of highlighter on her top part of her lip, so I'm just gonna kind of dust that on there even more. I'm going to take out my hair roller and then we're going to finish this look off. I have completed the second look of this Victoria's Secret Angel Makeup Runway series. I am so happy with how this turned out. I feel like this is one of the easiest makeup looks to recreate. It doesn't have to be that hard in order for you to be glam, and I hope I demonstrated that today. It's literally just highlighter on the front part of your eyes and a little lash. Like, you can do this, you can accomplish this, you can. And if you're enjoying this series, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what makeup look I should recreate next, or I'm thinking about doing a buying haul. Once the Victoria's Secret show comes out, I might like try to buy everything the day that it premieres and then do a haul. So if you're interested in like a haul and possible review / try on, let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.